Hi, everyone. This is Anita from the BYU Management Society Asia podcast. And I'm really excited today to introduce you to Marjorie Teh. So Marjorie's a new member on our Asia board, and Marjorie's been great to work with. So I wanted to kind of introduce you a little bit to her. And she's making a face at me there. Those of you that are listening can't see it, but she's been really great to work with, and I think she's going to be a really good dynamic person in our BYU MS Asia board. So Marjorie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located? Why don't you tell us something about yourself so that the audience can get to know you a little bit?
Hi, everyone. I'm Marjorie. I live down south of the Philippines. It's in Davao City. I'm a mom of 3 adults, and I work in several industries. I work in healthcare,
I'm going to stop you
and
a minute
media.
there.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you a minute there because you say you're a mom of 3 adults. You don't look old enough to be a mom of 3 adults. So I just want to say that from the very beginning, those of you who can't see her will know that Marjorie does not look old enough to be a mom of 3 adults unless she had her children when she was about 5 years old. So
Thank you for your compliment, Anita. Well, I am a mom of 3 adults. And in fact, my eldest all just graduated from BYU Hawaii. So I'm involved in the business process outsourcing industry as well as the healthcare industry. But in ecclesiastically though, I have been involved in the communications department of the church as a volunteer. So we oversee 10 um 10 wards and 10 stakes and districts under the Davao mission. And I have been in the communications for 13 years now.
wow, that's great. So, as part of your role for the BYU Management Society, we've asked you to help us with outreach and the alumni. So, maybe you could tell our listeners a little bit about that.
Since my work in the past 13 years has been in the public relations and communications of the church in this area, I'm going to be doing something similar in BYU MS. I will be reaching out to, say, alumni to feature you in Alumni Spotlight. I'm going to build relationships with priesthood leaders and possibly welfare and self-reliance point persons to help introduce what BYU Management Society in Asia can do to help the members in this region.
That's great, and recently you went to the BYU Management Society conference in Singapore, which was a lot about outreach, getting to know other people, um, us being able to gather together. Would you like to say something about that? Like, maybe what are some things you learned from the conference, or what did you come home from the conference? What did you gain from it? Is there anything that sticks out in your mind?
That's actually a difficult question because I have so much stuff that I have learned from the BYU Management Society, both professionally and personally as a mother. I particularly like the session on the Christ-centered leadership. It
Yes,
taught me,
that is for our listeners, is from the Sorensen Center, and it's the Christ-like Center of Leadership, a BYU model of leadership.
yes,
Yes.
yes, and I love that because as a mom of 3 adults, you have to change your parenting style. And that has allowed me to understand that I have to allow my children to exercise their agency and then to have them to be accountable. So that I was very excited to come home because of that talk, because it was like it was like an aha moment for me. I'm like, oh, I've been longing to know how to handle my adults because one of them is still home, but the two just live close by. I want to preserve that relationship, but at the same time respect their agency, and that talk just helped me. But like I said, that was not the only talk that stood out in my mind. I like the talks on leadership, how to and productivity, personal finance, and investment, and all of those things that I was just gobbling up everything that the speakers were teaching us, were sharing with us, and I'm so excited and looking forward to featuring those talks in our social media channels. I'm going to be working with Karen De La Cruz. She's our social media person. And we want to feature each of those talks to be able to share them on our platform, so that those who have missed it will have the opportunity to read up on it or to at least listen to it.
That's great. I think for me, one of my talks that I really enjoyed was one on the 1% by President Tolman, about the 1% rule, that if you just do a little bit, I remembered Elder Dunn's talk a couple conferences ago, and that's actually a principle which I've taught my own personal office here, that if we just do a little bit every day and become better every day, then we can become like 37% better in a year, versus if you don't, then you basically, you become worse. And I really loved his talk about the 1%. I think it was one of my favorite talks too.
Yeah, I love that talk too. And I also, and every day as a board member, I'm reminded of your talk about the BYU football, that even if they win over the weekend, they go back to work on Monday. And so that's why every day, even though the conference was over, foremost in my mind was, okay, I'm doing this for work, I'm doing this for family, for calling. What am I doing now for BYU Management Society Asia as a board member? So that helped me, to be conscious of what I can contribute, because we do need to go to work, even if the conference was over for this year.
Yeah, because sometimes, we do a big conference like this. We spend a lot of time planning it. And then all of a sudden, like, it's over, and then everybody stops.
True.
And so that's one of the things that I loved about BYU football, win or lose, even though they've lost the last few weeks, hopefully they'll win. Is the fact that, the coach, Kalani always said, well, we need to get back to work on Monday. We need to improve on Monday. We need to keep improving. And I think that, that's one of our goals as the Management Society Board in Asia. Let's keep improving. Let's keep becoming better. Let's find ways that we can keep serving and helping others.
I agree. That was instilled deeply in my mind. And that's why we have so many exciting things that are upcoming in terms of our social media content, in terms of the newsletter, because we want to really echo and re-echo the things that have been taught to us during the BYU MS conference in Singapore.
How did you feel about the, one of the things about conferences and getting some of the leadership together is, how did you feel about meeting some of the other leaders around Asia? How did that make you personally feel, and getting to know some of them and working with them? And do you feel more like this is a One Asia initiative that we're trying to do?
Definitely. In fact, I feel one with Singapore, because we met with them and helped them in a little bit in organizing. And it just, it wasn't just about going to Singapore at all. This was my first ever BYU Management Society conference, and I was really blown away. In fact, along with building relationship and all of that, I'm actually already looking at content for the newsletter, people that I'm going to reach out to and invite. I've already invited so many people and told them about the conference and how much it helped me. I mean, I've been inviting prior to conference, but after the conference, I wouldn't want to have that opportunity slip by and just keep those knowledge to myself. And the network that I have built is just amazing. A network of professionals who are each excelling in what they do, but also have a big heart and desire to serve and share what they know.
What I said to somebody when I came back from the conference, in America, we have this thing called Time Out for Women, where women get together and they have it's run by the Desert News, and they do like a day of speakers and other things. It's kind of like a time of rejuvenation, or the women's conference that BYU does. And the thing that I love about these management society conferences is I feel like as a professional, someone who's working, and I know you're working too, this was kind of a bit like that. It was kind of a bit like rejuvenating yourself. You come home with personal ideas, professional ideas, networking, and with people of the same moral and ethical standards as you do. So I don't know if you have any comment or feeling on that from this conference, or take home from that.
Certainly. In fact, I feel that the conference was it was a one-time get together annually where we all can see a display of ethical leadership, of personal development and professional development. I talked to my son about it. He was with me in the conference, and I asked him, he was so looking forward to networking with the CFA in Singapore because he's looking into becoming a CFA himself in 3 years. And so I asked him, so did you get to network? He says, yeah, I got his contact and I asked him questions about, being CFA. And he too was very excited about it. So to me, it was nothing short of mind blowing to be in that conference. I wouldn't miss any of that again.
That's really great to hear. So, what advice would you kind of give people? Like, of course, not everyone could come, be there in person, but what would be your advice that you would give to people about maybe these conferences and just about the BYU Management Society in general? I think one of the problems with the BYU Management Society that I see is people say BYU, oh, it means I need to be a BYU graduate. And I know you felt that at the beginning, right? So what kind of
Mhm.
advice would you give to people? What would you say to them about the BYU Management Society?
Well, number one, I was just telling my son that, oh no, I was telling my daughter that I'm really good at selling something if I believe in it. And I am doing that now with BYU Management Society because so many of the challenges that people are facing now can either be solved by personal development, professional development, or even just ethics. And this is an organization that upholds those three. It's for free. It's open to everyone, members and non-members, and of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as well as BYU graduates and non-BYU graduates. So there's really no restrictions in joining the society, and it's for free. So what are you gonna hold back on? If you get invited. So it's just a matter of getting the word out that this is the society and this is what we do. And these are the things that I've learned in the conference, and I wish you were there. And that's why part of the content for the next several months would be the speakers, the talks that were given, at least a summary of that, maybe highlight the key points that they have stated so that every month in the newsletter they'd get a glimpse of what they've missed. And hopefully, and we will have more, we'll probably feature 2 every month because to cover all of the speakers and to make sure that before the next conference everything is published.
And I think we should point out to our listeners that you don't have to go there. It was also virtual. So,
Yes,
you can listen to
exactly.
it virtually. You don't need to go there. And you can still take advantage of the great talks, the messages, and you can still learn it without going to the conference or traveling there.
True, true. That is so true. In fact, I've actually helped several people from my ward how to register, and I told them if it's conference time, just click this link. I made sure that they received the email, telling them that this is going to be the link for the conference, because I really didn't want them to miss it. And I was not even, it was not even conference time. I was not even sure what they were going to listen to. And so I was just glad that I helped them with that, because um, it's something that can really improve their practice, their career, and how they can advance in their career. You wouldn't believe how much how what being ethical in the workplace does in terms of promotion and the chances that they're giving you. So if they're not even high caliber, but if they are taught, to be morally upright, they still would have a chance in the world of work.
And I think, too, also being someone who's willing to learn.
Yes.
They say we had a talk on AI, and they say, one of the things about AI is the next revolution after the industrial revolution. This is the AI revolution. And so we're living in a world where we have to constantly be learning and growing and keeping up with the times and technology. And I think that that's one of the lessons too for like a conference like this that we try to do is talk about some of the new technology, some of the new things happening, so we can keep abreast of that, because that's also important in today's workplace.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, my second son is into technology, and the first thing that I gave him were the apps, the AI apps that the speaker gave us, and the top 10 jobs that are included in AI. He's not into traditional school, but he's into technology. And so I had a takeaway for each of my children. I had a takeaway for me, and I had a takeaway for my volunteer responsibilities, as well as my personal and professional development. And that's why I'm sort of pushing to be able to get slides from the conference, because we really want to get the word out that this is what we've learned and we want you to know about it.
That's great, and we really love your enthusiasm. You're a great addition for the BYU MS Asia Board. I guess in closing now, if you were going to give any advice to anybody about either about management side or general advice, what would it be, or what would you say to them? What is something you'd like our audience to know?
First, I want to encourage everybody to take advantage of opportunities to learn, to grow, and to be a part of organizations that will allow them to grow. Um, I was a stay-at-home mom until I was 35, and I was forced to go into the workforce. I was not even knowledgeable in computer. I had to ask somebody to help me create an email. But when opportunities to learn come, I just keep grabbing them. And I now, one of the things that I do now is to manage a team of programmers and graphic designer for one of my clients. And I couldn't imagine doing all of these things that I'm doing now. And we are fortunate because BYU Management Society wraps everything in one: personal development, professional and career development, as well as ethical leadership. All are core in growing your career, in becoming abreast with what's going on in the world and not being left behind. and just improving yourself, regardless if you're a housewife, you're working, you're a professional, or you're just someone curious. This is a really good place to start because we have, apart from the conference, we also have programs like the leadership programs that we're running, which is available in each of the chapters in Asia. And we're working on being able to cross enroll someone from another country if that's their only availability. And so that's basically my counsel, is to embrace opportunities to learn and grow, because you'll never know when you're gonna need those things.
That is really great counsel. I think for everybody that we need to constantly learn and grow and just embrace learning. Embrace being able to try something new, do something new, because that's
Mhm.
the way the world is going. So,
Yeah.
Marjorie, I really appreciate you spending the time to talk with us today and for you sharing your bits of wisdom. And we really appreciate your service on the board. Thank you so much for being part of the BYU Management Society Asia Board and all the work that you're doing for us.
Thank you for this opportunity and privilege. I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you. So this is Anita from the BYU MS Asia podcast, and we'd like to thank you, our listeners. We know without you this would not be possible. So thank you, all of you that are listening, and thank you for being part of our community.